This review is made possible by Napleton Mazda of Naperville. Napleton Mazda of Naperville offers a wide selection of Mazda products that will fit everyone's lifestyle. Start your new car search off right and visit them online at napervillemazda.com.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2022 Mazda CX-5 Signature Turbo. Up front is a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4 and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here CX-5 Signature because this is the top dog. This is the number one, this is the macho and most expensive CX-5 you can buy currently. And so I'm excited to dive into that with you today. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpradel.com, where you can buy stickers and other merchandise when it becomes available. You can also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you get a video of your car just like this one. And you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 2.5 liter under the hood. Well, like I said, it is turbocharged and it makes about 250 horsepower, which is fantastic. Really great power numbers here from the CX-5 and very adequate among the other vehicles in this segment. For a smaller but mid-size-ish SUV, I think those numbers are really good. Now, you can run this on regular unleaded gas. However, that power number is going to bump down to about the 220s, 227, I believe. So if you want the full power, and honestly, it's a turbo car, you really should run premium gas. You'll get that extra horsepower, and it'll just be a little bit healthier of a motor. Now, if you are really pushing for reliability, this is going to be a car that you want to keep for 5, 10, 15 years, I would highly recommend seeking out the naturally aspirated non-turbo engine. They've just been around for longer. They're a little bit more reliable. And I'm not saying that this turbo engine is unreliable. It's just when you tack on extra parts, there's extra room for failure, of course. So if you like a nice, plain, simple, clean, reliable car, I would go with the naturally aspirated 2.5. Like I said, paired to its 6-speed automatic, Mazda's been using this for years, and they use a 6-speed automatic in every single vehicle that they make. It is not a CVT, which I love. That's one of my main drawing points towards Mazdas in the current era because they don't use CVTs. I hope they never do, but they still don't make CVTs, which I love. I'm not a big fan of CVTs, and this is not that. Last but not least, this Signature is all-wheel drive. However, for the 2022 model year, all Mazda CX-5s are all-wheel drive. There is no front-wheel drive option anymore. It used to be the base models and lower trims you could get in front-wheel drive. They're all-wheel drive now, so just so you know. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. We have quite a bit to talk about in here. Well, in front of me, I do have 2 physical gauges and a screen. On the left, I get my tachometer. On the right, I get my coolant temperature and fuel. And in the center, I get a digital screen that I can change a couple things in here. I do like the amount of information you get in here. I wish it had maybe a couple of extra colors or something like that, but I'm really nitpicking at that point. Up above the gauge cluster, I do have a heads-up display giving me my speed as well as my lane keep, what it's doing. So if I go over a line, it'll light up yellow, which is kind of nice. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my volume, mute, skip track, info, and phone options. That info is for switching that digital gauge we just talked about. And on the right, I have my radar, cruise control options, as well as passive steering assist, which is very nice. It'll help you take slight curves on highways and things like that. And the radar cruise, I've used it for thousands and thousands of miles with my own personal Mazda 3, and it is a really good system. Like I said, I've probably done well over 30,000 miles with the radar cruise enabled, and I've never really had a big issue with it. To the left, I do have my tailgate, lane keep assist, parking sensors, as well as my camera options. So this car is equipped with a 360 camera. It comes with nicer cameras than the standard CX-5 for the Signature, and I love the feeling of it, and I love the look of it. It's very clear. It's a lot better than these standard cameras, and I love that. Moving on to the door, I have my latch to get in and out, and I have this nice wood trim, really like that. And then I have my power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do have the infotainment system. I'm not going to harp on this for too long. However, it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This is where you can access all your cameras as well. Very, very nice. Here's what the standard backup camera looks like. You get that nice top-down bird's eye view as well. Really, really sweet. And again, I am a big fan of this system. Mazda's more modern system is very good. The late 2000s, early 2010s Redbubble system was not very good, so I'm happy to report that I like this quite a bit. Then I get 2 climate control vents and the hazard switch, and then I get the climate controls. I like how clean and concise they are. I get heated and ventilated seats here in the Signature, as well as, of course, I do get dual zone climate, which is very, very nice, and auto climate, so you can utilize a bunch of different climate options at your will. Then I do get a 12-volt outlet and this little cubby, which for the Signature has a wireless charger in it. Absolutely love that. And then we come to the shifter. Now there's this white stuff around the shifter. That's because this is still a new vehicle. And so this is just part of the shipping and to protect it for the first owner. So don't mind that. But I like the feel of the shifter. I've always liked the feel of Mazda shifters. I think they do a really good job with it. And off to the left, I do have MI drive. So this is new for 2022. I have sport, normal, and off-road. So the off-road mode is the new mode for 2022. Previously, it was just a sport mode button. So I really, really like Mazda sort of getting into that lane, and when you put into sport mode or off-road mode, it actually changes the color of the gauge. So that does redeem the center screen a little bit, adding extra colors and a fun little scheme when you do put it into sport or off-road mode. Then we have the selectors for the infotainment screen down below here. So I get a big joystick for going around the infotainment screen. I really like the tactile feedback that this has. Feels good, feels solid. I don't feel like I'm going to break it by using it. Off to the right, I have my volume knob. I really like the position of this. It's where I naturally rest my right hand, so it's perfect for me. And then I have my power parking brake and automatic holding brake, so when you come to a stop, you can turn it on, press the brake a little extra hard, and then you can take your foot off the brake while you're at a red light. You don't have to hold your foot there, or what I use it for is drive-thrus. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the CX-5 Signature, and unfortunately, no modern Mazda passes the big friggin' bottle test. It's to be expected, but still, a little sad to see, but that's okay. Then I do get a center console, nothing too crazy in there, and then we have the seats. The seats are power, memory, heated, and ventilated, which is fantastic. They are pretty comfortable. Like I said, I've spent probably hundreds, if not thousands of hours in seats like this, and they are pretty comfortable. Even on long road trips, they get a little stiff, but any car under $100,000 is going to be that way. So, can't really knock it for that. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2022 Mazda CX-5 Signature Turbo. And a couple of things to note. First of all, we do have 2 climate control vents down here. Very nice. I also do get a center console, which houses not only cup holders, but my heated seat buttons, which is very, very cool. Very cool to see that. I love that a lot. And there's 3 different levels of heated seats for either side. But let's talk space. What do we think back here? Does that make things a little easier to see? All right, space is pretty good. Being a full-size adult, and I think I can call myself full-size, knees hitting the seat in front of me a little bit, but that's okay. Like if I spread them a little bit, totally fine. Headroom good too. If you are planning on using the back seat a fair amount, get the CX-5 over the CX-30. The CX-30 has very, very cramped small back seats because it's actually based off of the Mazda 3, where the CX-5 is its own chassis and a little bit bigger. So I'd highly recommend seeking out the CX-5 or even CX-50 if you plan on using the back seats a lot but don't want a third row. Of course, if you want a third row, you could go up to the CX-9. So plenty of options here from Mazda. Let's go hop around the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the CX-5 Signature Turbo, and we do have a trunk popper here. You press and hold the button on the side, and it does pop the tailgate nice up like that. And then to close it, we have a nice button here. But in the back of the CX-5, you do have these pull levers. This will actually pull and release the seat and send it down. My sweatshirt is blocking it, so that's why it didn't go all the way down. But you have 2 more buttons to do the same thing on this side. Coming back here, we can pull this up. We do get a spare tire, and that is actually the Bose quote-unquote subwoofer. It's not actually a true subwoofer, but it is part of the Bose audio system. As you can see, This is how you would remove it to get your tire out. So pretty interesting packaging from Mazda to see that. And it's nice to get actually a spare tire. A lot of cars don't do that these days. You do have these little recessed pockets over here and over here for storage, maybe things you don't want rolling around. And then the creme de la creme, you do have a 12-volt outlet back here that works off the battery. So even if the car is off, you can inflate a tire, inflate a mattress, or use any type of power outlet back here. So like I said, just come up here, press once, and the tailgate will go down. Very, very nice from the CX-5 Signature Turbo. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I really, really love the look of this CX-5. First of all, this is Soul Red Metallic, which is a signature color for Mazda. This is kind of their show-offy color, and it is probably, in my book, one of the most interesting, good, and deep colors you could find on a modern car. I believe it's like 5 or 6 layers of paint. Don't quote me on that, but it's something in that, and it's an insane amount of layers of paint for a vehicle under $50,000. However, with all of those layers are pretty thin, and this paint does chip pretty easily. So if you are buying one of these in the Soul Red Metallic, and I do still highly recommend it, I would also highly recommend getting some type of PPF or film that would help protect your paint from rock chips, or do what I did, and I actually put a leather bra on the front of my Mazda 3 to help prevent rock chips, and that actually does help a lot. You just have to take the bra off whenever you wash the car and make sure you wash under it so dirt and grime doesn't sit on your paint underneath it. But that's my recommendation. If you do plan on getting the Soul Red Metallic, or really any modern car, you should do some type of film or protective layer. The other thing I want to talk about with the exterior of the Signature is that it actually gets painted cladding. So you see that little hoop over the wheels? On most CX-5s, that's just matte black. Well, in this, they actually body match the paint on those, which is very, very nice. I think it gives it a lot more of an elegant look. I'm a big, big fan. But now let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think finally driving a Mazda CX-5 Signature Turbo from 2022? Well, I like it a lot. I mean, I don't think there's any hidden feelings here. I really, really like this car. I think it's one of the best SUVs on the market. And yes, I do personally own a Mazda, and that's why I feel that way. I've put 70,000 miles on my Mazda 3 and loved it every step of the way. And so this is very, very similar to that. It's just a slightly bigger version of that. I really like the way this car drives. I like the way this car handles. I like the way it looks. I like all the technology in here. It is starting to get a little dated. You know, this body style debuted in 2017, and although they did update the exterior for 2022, the interior has remained pretty much the same, so maybe in a couple of years, I'd like to see a little bit of an updated CX-5, but not the end of the world. I'm just a big Mazda fan, and honestly, the reason for that is the things that I stated earlier. I like the way they drive, I like the way they look, and I like the tech inside of them, and that's kind of the big 3 things. Chuck some good reliability in there, great customer service, fantastic warranty, and you have a pretty complete package. So I hope this helped you looking for your next SUV, whether that be a CX-5. At the end of this video, in my outro card, I will put the CX-30 Turbo if you want a slightly smaller Mazda SUV, or the CX-50 Turbo if you want a slightly bigger Mazda SUV. I've reviewed both of those, so please go check those out. I hope that helps with your purchase decision. But huge thank you to Napleton Mazda of Naperville for loaning me this car. They are absolutely awesome. Like I said, top-notch customer service, fantastic people to buy a car from. I cannot recommend them enough. They are the best dealership I have ever worked with, hands down. Please go check them out. I can't say enough good things. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.